Hi, my name's Luke Perkin, and this is a prototype of a game called Delta V, which can only be described as Couch Co-op FTL. Now, I'm going to be playing a quick playthrough single player, but really this game is meant to be played with 2 to 4 other players. So let's get started. Okay, so here I am moving around in the middle. So the first thing I'm going to want to do is get the clone pods working, and so I've gone and taken one of those orange barrels and I'm going to plug them into the clone pods. They are clone goo, and without that the clone pods don't work. So when a player dies, it takes the clone goo out of the barrel and lets the player respawn. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these battery looking things. They're fuses, and each room has a fuse box. The more fuses a room has, the more efficient it runs. In the case of the clone pod, the more fuses it has, the faster the players can respawn. What I'm doing there is I'm venting the reactor. You'll see what happens when you don't vent the reactor later on. Now, I think the next thing I'm going to do is get the rocket fuel room up and running. So you'll see we have a big thruster on the left, and that requires rocket fuel to run. And the rocket fuel room just produces rocket fuel from the purple barrels, which is hydrogen. Now you'll notice the thruster room now has an error, the exclamation mark with the helmet. That means I need to go EVA to fix that error. Which I've just done now. I've gone through the airlock. I'm slowly going around the ship. Now, as soon as I fix the thrusters will come back online, and you can't really see it here, but I'm really having to push forwards because now the ship is accelerating away from me. So the reactor just overheated. And now what happens is all the systems go offline. So now I need to prioritize which systems do I put back online first. And I think what I'm going to do now is head straight to the oxygen, because that's pretty vital, and get that back online. You'll also notice this jester looking character roaming around. The sprite's not been done yet, but he's supposed to be a monkey. Once the monkey escapes, he just goes around and he's a bit of a dick, to be honest. Takes the fuses out, switches levers, picks up items and throws them around, that sort of thing. So I'm going to try and get him back in, but first I need to fix this hull breach with the welder tool I'm holding there. Okay, so that's fixed. Yeah, looks like I'm going to get the monkey, trying to put him back. Just got hit by a big clump of ice there. Obviously now I've forgotten to put our shields back up, and if I don't get these shields back up, this is going to be a real problem for us, because we're just going to keep getting bombarded with space debris. A meteor hit us, and now that started a fire, and the fire's starting to spread. And it's also taken our clone pod offline, but now that doesn't matter because everything's offline again, because I forgot to vent the reactor. As you can see, I'm really starting to get overwhelmed here. And I could really do with a couple of extra partners to help me. What I've just done there is flip the door lever, so I've just doubly make sure the monkey's locked in his cage. Getting the thrusters back online. Now when the sensors are offline, you'll notice all the monitors are just showing gibberish, and we don't get the sort of estimated time of arrivals for all the space debris. You'll see what I mean by that when the sensors come back online. I'm using the fire extinguisher there to get rid of those fires. Really getting bombarded here. Notice I was using the fire extinguisher there to give myself a little speed boost. You can use that to get around the ship quite quickly. Now the piloting room has a socket for afterburner fuel. You see, I just put the barrel in there, and that will slowly charge up the afterburner, and I can activate that to give us a pretty hefty speed boost. This fire is proving tricky to combat. I'm completely ignoring the loot that's flying all over the place. If I use the tractor beam, I can take in the loot, and that gives us extra goodies. Here comes another meteor crashing into the ship. I really need to get that fire started. Not only is fire obviously a threat, it consumes oxygen, and if it touches one of those consoles there, it'll cause that to error. So if you don't see to fires, they get out of hand pretty quickly. And I still haven't got the shields back online, and we're just getting pummeled by debris. Okay, I've activated the afterburner, and you notice all the players go flying to the back of the ship because of the sudden boost in acceleration. I think at this point I'm totally overwhelmed. I don't think I can redeem myself at this point at all. So I'm just gonna sit back and watch me fail miserably. So just to explain a couple of systems, the climate control obviously controls the temperature of the ship. As I mentioned earlier, the fires not only consume oxygen, but they increase the temperature, and when the temperature is higher, the reactor overheats quicker. Also, the hull breaches consume oxygen, because obviously oxygen's leaking out from the ship. I was a bit too slow there, I didn't vent the reactor in time. You're going to see what it's like once the oxygen starts getting critically low pretty soon. There's also the computer room just below the sensor, and we don't have any computer chips yet. You can get those by collecting loot with the tractor beam, but they give you different effects that will help you, such as shield boost or fuel efficiency, that sort of thing. This is what it sounds like when oxygen is critically low. Quite ominous. Fixing another hull breach hidden behind the clone pod there. Didn't see that earlier. Now you can see the frost creeping in. That's at -5 degrees centigrade. I think I'm gonna die pretty soon, and I'm dead.